Okay, for the third freaking time today. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully, hopefully we don't get cut off again.
It's like fate does not want this to happen. It's like there's just too much awesomeness on this channel today.
Oh, we're imploding the universe with our
Yeah.
conversation.
So, um,
Where were
before
we?
we were talking about tarot. So I noticed that on your channel that you actually use form of tarot to help you write. Can you tell me about that process? Because this is new to me.
So this was just a random idea I had. I decided to do a tarot reading and let the cards dictate the plot of the book. And I because it was my first time doing that, I didn't even know if it was going to work. So I only chose like 10 cards with the intention of making it a short story. And the cards came out in such a way that I'm like, you know what would be cool to write about? It would be cool to write about the Oracle of Delphi back in mythological Greek times.
Yeah. And I saw that and I was just so impressed by that. And I'm just sitting here going, how would I even manage to do that? So that's one of your processes.
Mhm.
Um, but you didn't use that process for Starforge, correct?
No, I was not into tarot card at the time that Starforge came out, but I may try it with something with another project.
I think it would be really great if like you continue doing that and then just showing us as time progresses, how a story can develop that way. Because
Mhm.
it's new and it's interesting. And I think that, one, I'm an avid fan for anything paranormal, anything that's got witchy woo, and
Mhm.
I love me some tarot cards.
Tarot cards are really incredible, and I freaking love the Critical Role tarot card deck that they came out with.
What? Okay, hold up, back up. They came out with a tarot deck, Critical Role
Back
did?
back when Critical Role was still with Geek and Sundry, they came out with the Critical Role tarot deck.
I need to get my hands on one of
I don't
those.
think I don't think they have them anymore. Ever since they left Geek and Sundry, anything that they made with Geek and Sundry is no longer available to the public because it's a copyright thing.
Yeah.
So,
No.
I
It ma
know.
it makes me so sad because I have a tarot deck and it came with my busted up Dragon Age 3 collector's edition box.
Mhm.
So disappointed when I opened it up. But those cards are beautiful and I use them sporadically. I'm not the best at tarot. So I'm just like, I just want to look at them. They're so lovely.
Exactly. Yeah. And the Critical Role tarot deck is just the major arcana. So it's everything from the Fool up to the World. And they did the artists that they hired to do the cards, they're incredible. The cards are so freaking beautiful. And if I can find if I can find them in my packages that I've already packed up, I may show you. So
Okay, so as a fan, um, I'm just gonna put it out there. You don't have to do it, but I think one of the things that you should do for like merch or loot for the Jazz Dylan is actually have like a tattoo version of tarot.
like what do you mean? Like
Okay, so like, there's a lot of authors these days. Like you look at Jenna Morochi and she has merch in her store. And
yeah.
I have a friend, Kay Stevens, she's an author as well here in Dallas. And she has, done stickers and she's got like merch and cups. And I think it would just be really great as like either a collector's item for the book or just even to have as getting a tarot deck for the Jazz Dylan mystery, like of art and things like that, of the tattoos.
Ooh. You know,
I'm putting it out in the universe, girl. Gotta manifest.
I'm not mad at this. I am not mad at this.
Yay!
No, I didn't even think about that. I'd been wanting to make a tarot deck. I actually considered making a tarot deck for Starforged when the whole series was done, but I hadn't considered it for Canvas. I'm gonna have to think about this now.
See, good, good. I'm putting it out in the universe, guys. We may get one in the
Oh
merch
my
store
god! Oh my gosh!
because, like, I'm really big about tarot, and I just think like that would be really a cool aesthetic to have, especially if, like, it's coming from you and it is your brainchild.
Yes, yes, it is my brainchild. Oh my gosh. Now I have a lot to think about.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love it. I love it when people can get me firing on all cylinders. It's wonderful.
Now, besides that, like, so you're gonna do your move soon. Um, are you nervous about going to a whole new location? Are you excited about being inspired by like the location that you're going to?
I am ready to get out of this town. I'm not really nervous about it because this was actually I'm moving back to the town that I was born in, and we moved away from it before I could really honestly imprint any memories of it in my childhood. But I know this town. My uncle lives about 2 hours away. He works at the Costco there. So I know somebody there, and first of all, it has a Costco, which the current town I live in doesn't. The biggest thing is a Walmart.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm from Texas, so like there's a Walmart on every street corner. It's almost as bad as Starbucks.
Oh my God, yes. And so I'm ready to get out and I'm ready to go live on my own. I really hope I get the job that I applied for. I'm ready to go. I'm
I'm
ready.
really excited for you. I am so excited for this new journey, this new chapter that you're, walking into. I definitely feel like there will be good things for you as you journey onward. I'm really stoked about possibilities of you like doing and creating more things.
I'm I'm so excited about this new part of my life and which is amazing because a year ago I was afraid of it. Um when I graduated from college, I was really scared about where I was going because I didn't really have a direction. Now that I have a destination and I have a goal, I'm ready to get going.
Oh, that is so great. That's so good to hear.
Mhm.
Because sometimes, like, I see people get so stuck into this rut, this comfort zone, and I think it just screams volumes that you're just ready to like march on head on, girl. Like, good for you. This
Thank
is
you.
exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh boy.
Now, you do digital art as well.
Yes, I
Um,
do.
So, do you have like a certain product that you use? Because I use my Wacom. It's old school. It's a bamboo splash. But what do you use?
I actually have the bamboo fun.
You do?
I
Oh, let's
do.
geek out about this. Oh my God, it's so sexy. I want this so bad.
It really is. And I got this thing is almost, let's see, when did I get this? I got this when I was 15 years old. It's almost 10 years old and it is
Oh my God,
still going on full cylinder.
that is awesome. That
I
is
love
awesome.
I love this freaking tablet. I love it.
So, are you on DeviantArt? Because I know I am. Like my page, I haven't updated. I've been really bad, guys. A lot of shit's going on. But my page is like Riot Cabbage. I think that's what I am. It's been a long time.
See, I do have a DeviantArt page. That was when my art career and my writing were separate. So mine is Baby Gold Dragon 3.
Yay! Okay, guys, get on it. Like, y'all need to get on it.
But I actually have some Critical Role fan art there.
That is so cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, I love Critical Role actually got me back into art because I hadn't been drawing consistently with any level of seriousness for like 4 years by that point. And when I started drawing again, it was like night and day in terms of my attitude.
It's amazing how art can transform your mood. It can transform you just in general. I am an abstract expressionist. So for me, like my mood is parallel to what I'm creating. And, it can go from like a dark period to something that's like bright and colorful, full of insanity.
Exactly.
but but that's what I love about art is that, it's very intuitive. Like for me, it's intuitive based. But, I just think that you are like definitely a woman of like varying artistic skills. Like you're a playwright, you now like write a novel, you also do digital art. I don't know how you do this. Like, so what is your process? Because, as a writer, like, do you have a schedule? Like, how do you manage this world that you live in?
um, to be honest with you, I I don't actually know. It all happens by whim and wherever my heart is leading. When I'm writing, I try to get the writing done early in the morning, and I try to write a chapter a day in the morning. But when I get back to work, obviously I don't think I'm going to be able to do that because I'm going to be working. But when I'm living on my own, I'm also going to have more time to write because
Yeah.
I have this thing about not I don't feel comfortable writing while other people are in the house. If that's weird, I don't know.
No, it's not. I feel the same
Oh
way.
my god, somebody gets it.
Oh my god. Okay, so if for those that don't know me very well, I am a mother of 4. I have 4 children and a man-child at home and a dog. And so, like, my house is always going. It's always like a will of its own. And so I don't think real quietness hits my house until like 9 o'clock. Like my kids go to bed pretty early, but it takes them some time because we hear, Mommy, Daddy, could we have a book, please? And sometimes it's like 3 books in and we're just like, "Go the F to sleep." So we were reading the 3rd book now of, Mr. Wishing found a wish or a fish or whatever, and so, like, yeah, and I often write at night, and I had a fellow, writing member 'cause, at the time well, I think I still am a part of this writing group. It's called the Saxy Wiley Authors Group. I had one of their writing members ask me if I was, what was it? Am I schizophrenic? Because I write at night. Because she clearly doesn't, apparently, but also she's old and she has no children. So for me, I'm sitting here going, no, that's when the silence hits, and I don't have to, answer questions, and I don't have to go find a stuffed animal, and I sure don't have to go like play a video game with my husband, even though I love to. It's just, it's me time. It's my time to shine, y'all.
Exactly, exactly. And when I get to working and I'm also on a weight loss regimen, so I try to go to the gym early in the morning before traffic is crap. So obviously when I'm living by myself, my writing schedule is probably going to change.
Yes.
But yeah, I write whenever you can and write when the mood takes you. That's what I like about my job that I had this last year, my temporary job. I was a secretary for the theater department I actually graduated from. But it was most days it was kind of laid back where they just needed somebody at the desk so that if people came by to ask questions, they didn't go to the head of the department who already has enough shit on his plate. So, yeah, I could just write.
I've got to ask this question because I don't know how many writers there are. Because we were talking about this at one point, where we're always kind of curious: are authors like, do they do the same things, kind of situation? So, do you daydream at work? No, you don't have to answer if it's going to get seen and you're going to get in trouble.
Abso-fucking-lutely. I daydream. I wake up daydreaming. That's my life. I talk to people when I'm alone. I talk to my characters. I talk to people who don't exist. I talk to people who do exist but never met me in their life.
So it's like your bread and butter. And I think like that's important for people to realize like we're not crazy. This is our bread and butter. This is what writers do.
This
Deal
is,
with
this
it.
is how we function.
Because before I started doing the whole writing full time thing, I was a data entry operator, and I would be writing like numbers and verifying checks, and I would often find myself daydreaming about themes, plots, characters, scenarios for my story, and I
Exactly.
often kind of felt like, am I alone in this?
No, no, and I felt the same way too. And then I got to study abroad in London my sophomore year of college, and there was a theater teacher there from Temple University, who said that she talks to herself, and I'm like, somebody gets it. Somebody
So
gets it.
yay.
I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm just a writer. I'm a natural
Exactly.
born writer.
Exactly.
Does it ever frustrate you some of the writing advice that you see out there, especially on the Twitter sphere?
I mean, honestly, I tend to not even pay mind to advice because a lot of the advice is very circumstantial if it's even good in the first place. I am a I guess in a way I'm kind of an anomaly because I have to write my first draft, and in the case of Canvas, my second draft, I have to write that completely with pen and pencil. I don't work on the computer because it doesn't work for me. It takes longer to write it. That's why Starforge took so long, because it was exclusively on the computer. I'm just more comfortable with pen and paper in hand. And no matter what advice someone gives you, unless it's related to like the business aspect of writing, in terms of like, use this to promote yourself, use BookBrush to create your marketing images, if it's about the writing process itself, it's not going to work for everybody.
Yeah, because I've gone to a few like writing panels, and the most frustrating thing I ever hear is like the plotting. Do you not know how many plotting methods there are? And it's just so frustrating. Like you see the snowflake method, you see the Cinderella method, and I'm just like, I'm a pantser. I want to write when I want to write, and I don't want to feel locked in. But there's also, cons to that because then you get these moments where you're not sure where to go next in your story.
Yeah, like I'm not even sure if there is a title for the way that I plot, because all I do is like go chapter by chapter. This is what we need to hit per chapter. Like, this is the focus. This is the characters. This is what we need to learn. But I'm also not married to the plot. If something needs to be added in between chapter 1 and chapter 2, I'm gonna add it.
Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. Are you familiar with Gaia Online?
I am. I had an account. I never used it.
Okay, so I'm gonna embarrass myself right now. It's okay. Back in the day, I was a Gaia Online writer. I used to get into those like role play rooms, and
Oh, I
we
love role playing.
I know, like me and my mates, we would get in there and we would have a really good time. Like we would seriously just like create these lavish stories. And one was always improv. And then two, like it really helped me build what a actual like character outline should look like. So
Mhm.
when I would hear other writers talk about how they struggle to, build their character, and here I've had this experience of guys you know, because I've had to write like their name, what foods they liked, what music they hated, things like
Mhm.
that. I feel like that really helped me in this industry.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
God, I feel so old now.
Don't feel old, honey. No, if I remember Gaia Online, we're both old, and I'm only just about to turn 25, so I don't think we're old.
Oh wow, I'm like 34 now. So
What?
yeah. Yes, I am 34, guys.
You look you look 27, I'm just saying.
I know, I know. It's like all the souls that I consume and the tears of all the children that like I make unhappy when I say no candy for you tonight for dinner.
Oh my gosh.
That's what happens. I bathe in it, like a what is that shit that you put on your face? Oh my god. I think like Jeffree Star would hit me right now.
Probably.
I forget, like I'm not a makeup-y person, so I don't
Yeah.
know what it's called. It's the stuff that you put on your face. Guys,
The
someone help me out.
the primer, the moisturizer, the
Toner. It's
toner.
toner. It's that shit. Yeah, it's a toner of sad children being told no.
What, next week somebody is gonna come out with a toner that's gonna be called Baby Tears.
Baby tears. It'll keep you looking youthful for ages.
It's probably gonna be Manny. The shade!
Maybe it'll be Jacqueline Hill that produces
Oh
it.
my
Sorry, sorry guys. Anybody out there that's a Jacqueline Hill fan? Sorry.
oh,
Sorry, not sorry.
we're gonna be on Peter Mon's channel now.
Someone's gonna like flag this so hard.
People are gonna come at us.
Hey, I shouted out Jeffree Star. He's fam, yo. He's fam.
Uh, no, you know who would make the Baby Tears toner? James Charles.
Oh my god. Maybe, maybe. Wonder what the packaging would look like.
It'd be a crying doll.
From like Toy Story. Like what was it? Toy Story 1?
There were like a couple of different babies with the one kind of closed eye in like Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 3.
Yeah, I mean, like you've got a choice here. Like just pick one.
Oh my gosh.
See, this is what happens.
You know what I'm actually surprised by with the beauty community?
What?
Somebody hasn't come out with like a toner or a primer or a moisturizer, something called like virgin blood.
I'm really surprised by that. They could really get behind the historicalness of that.
Exactly. Look at the woman who partially inspired Dracula. She bathes in it.
I mean, Lady Gaga's coming out with a new brown house. Maybe like she can angle that.
He would so do it.
Like, come on, Gaga. We're giving you ideas here now.
He would do it yesterday.
So, is there any other process for writing? So sorry, I totally like segued us on this. Is there any other process for your writing that you use that actually work for you, but could also work for everybody?
So, like I said, with the fight scenes, I do actually create entire D&D character sheets.
Yeah.
I only do that for specific genres, though. I only did that for Starforge so far. I don't really feel the need to make it for Canvas because honestly, there's not going to be a whole lot of fight scenes in that.
Yeah.
It's more about the plot line than the story. Like I said, I do love pen and paper over computer for at least my first draft or my second draft. Oh God, I'm just trying to think. Honestly, it's just a case of like find what works for you because a lot of different things work for different people. For me, editing is what gets me out of writer's block because you're doing something that's not you're not it's not so hard that you have to try to create something from scratch when you're editing. All you do is look for mistakes.
I think that that's always interesting because I've talked to so many different writers in these writing groups that I'm a part of, and the one thing that I see is a variety of different like ways that they get through to their finished product. And like I've heard of the quilting method where you just write whatever you feel like you write, and then you have maybe like 20 documents in a Google Drive, and then you just piece it together.
Yeah.
And then I've seen people that talk about how you don't delete. Like I'm a part of NaNoWriMo every year, and that is the one thing that I hear a great deal of. Stop deleting, guys. Don't touch it. And I am like, fuck you. I'm going. Can I say that? Sorry.
No,
Um,
absolutely, girl. I call you a sailor.
I'm like, oh my goodness, the salty words are coming out. Um, and I'm just like, screw y'all guys. Like, I'm gonna do me. Y'all do you. And if I get to my word count at the end, I get to my word count at the end.
Exactly. You have to do what works for you. That's why I like writing with pen and paper better because it shuts off that inner editor that's in your head.
Yeah.
Because it's so much harder to it looks messier when you scratch words out with a pen than it
Yeah.
does to just click delete.
Like for me, so growing up, I had a disability, a learning disability. So I had dyslexia, and writing things down in a journal drives me nuts because my brain it will work a lot faster than my hand can, and so there'll be like these awesome like moments of a scene that will be gone, like a paragraph chunk kind of situation.
Exactly.
And
What
so
nothing works across the board for everybody and you have to find your own way. And that's the hard part when it comes to writing your first book because there's no guidebook for this.
And I feel so bad for people starting out because I remember when I started out writing, I got on Wattpad and I'm still on Wattpad, but I don't update my book anymore because you hear so many different things about like oversharing. I noticed that you were fearless, and I'm just gonna give you mad props. I know sometimes you talk online like how you might be crazy. but you seem like you really want to share your baby with the world, and you're not afraid of someone, grabbing it and toying with it or anything. And Wattpad, I remember when Wattpad came out, it was the best tool for indie writers like myself and like you who wanted to share their product, build a platform and a fan base to kind of get, feelers out there of, hey, am I good? Do you want more? And, there's a lot of old school Dara writers that are part of RWA that would go, hold up, girl. Like, you stupid. Like, why are you going to post your book online without a copyright? But I think what people forget is that copyright doesn't, it protects you, but it doesn't in a sense. Like, no matter what, when you create in a pencil and paper format or online, you're already protected. It only covers you 160,000, I think, for literature. So to me, I'm like, I think we need to like calm down. And if you want to use Wattpad, like, don't discourage young writers for, putting at least a freebie out there to kind of get a vibe. Because sometimes you do need beta readers. Sometimes you do need people to go, hey, this is good. You've got something and we want more of it.
And I actually made those mistakes with Starforge. I was so protective of my book. I was so scared of somebody taking it that I honestly I cut corners. I'll be honest with you. I cut corners with the final situation because I didn't have, a substantial amount of beta readers. I didn't have a professional editor. And I came to realize, yes, it's risky, but you need to do it in order to have your best product.
At first, I was really scared, and I think that's what made me kind of like get away from Wattpad and just kind of reevaluate like my platform there. And I feel so bad because there were people that actually liked the prologue and they want more of it. Um, and I kind of just left them hanging, and then they all kind of just did this exodus, and that was my fault, and I take full ownership of that. And I hope that once it's done, they could be like, "Oh, great, this is back, yay!" But, when you're starting out, you don't know better. And, in the community, you hear varying different voices and different opinions, and that can be daunting. And I agree with you full heartedly. You just got to do what's best for y'all.
Exactly. And actually, I think I found a study where a romance writer actually made more sales by posting her book on Wattpad because she would do like a chapter every something like 2 weeks and
Yeah,
get people like, oh my gosh, I want the next part now. Well,
here you go.
here's a little Amazon link. And she only left the full thing up for like maybe 2 weeks.
And,
And and then she dialed it back.
that's what a lot of authors do. Like Lillian Hart, she's a RWA member and she's a romance writer, and that's what she was doing. That was her platform. That's what she used to kind of hook readers in and get new fans or get new readership involved. And I think it's great no matter how you want to use it, especially if you're a newcomer coming into this industry. I think that it gives you experience on one, how to market yourself, and two, it allows you to build a platform. So you're not starting from scratch, because I've heard through several romance writers that most publishing houses won't touch you unless you have some form of social media built. It
Exactly.
does. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you have to have something.
Yeah, no, it's a weird world that we live in now, where social media can make or break you, and it can do it in many different ways. You can, if you don't have a social media following, you can't get people to pay attention to you. If you do have a social media following, you can get people to pay attention to you. But if you get too much attention, somebody might try to come for you. It's a very weird world that we live in, but I think that we need to start embracing it full heartedly.
I agree. Because I had no idea how opening the door for Twitter for me inside like the writing community was gonna go. Like, I see a lot of authors that are just shitty people actually. And I see some of their comments that they post, and I go, "Damn, how do y'all guys keep having like people buy your books when y'all guys are the shitty people?"
I know.
And it just amazes me. But I don't want to go that route. I want to be as honest as possible. I also use a pen name so I can be shitty on Twitter. I can be salty and protect my integral like writing.
Exactly.
like
Exactly.
like don't judge me, guys. Sometimes I
Mhm.
have bad days.
We all have bad days every so often. It's okay.
But I just find that really curious, and Twitter has really opened my eyes to like this a platform for marketing, and I just think it's the most interesting dynamic ever. Do you use Twitter a lot for your marketing?
Honestly, it's my favorite of my platforms to use. Because I also have a Facebook page, but I honestly don't update it as probably as often as I should. YouTube, I have a hard time with because, it requires filming the videos, editing the videos, making it look presentable, which I'm okay with, but it's a requirement of having the time. And then I have an Instagram, which I like Instagram, but you always need something to like take a picture of. And there's some times where it's like, I mean, I want to tell people about this, but there's sometimes no picture to go with this that really makes it look cool. And I don't want to be one of those people who's just like selfie every day.
I'm the
So,
same way, so I get how you feel about that.
so I like Twitter the best in terms of the marketing platforms because, and I like it both for the fact that I can write my own tweets. I can say, you know what, guys, I'm having a little bit of a bad day. I can do a little quick little update saying, you know what, I need to take some time away from the writing community, or I need to take some time away from this project, or I can get in on other conversations and I can choose which conversations I get in on.
Now, I've been seeing this as of this week. Actually, there's been a few people. I think I'm gonna butcher this girl's name. She just came out with Ghost Squad, right? Clabriel Ortega. God,
Hmm.
and she was talking about how when you get on Twitter, sometimes it's like you're voicing into the void. Did it feel like that for you when you got on Twitter at first?
In the earlier days, yeah, it's a little bit like, but I also feel that way when I kind of make my YouTube videos because I'm not sure if anybody's even paying attention. And sometimes it can feel that way, and you feel like you're speaking into darkness. It also feels that way on my Patreon account because I have like one patron right now and only a few followers. But I
We're
think
sorry, give us a second. We're gonna like plug the crap out of this Patreon. Can you give us what your Patreon account is? I'm gonna get this out there.
so, it's basically just my name. It's Kelsey Ann Lovelady on patreon.com. So yeah, that's all it is. And I post um my writing videos. If you become a top tier patron, I'm just saying you can become a beta reader. That's all I'm saying.
Hey guys, she's got some really great shit coming out. Y'all need to get on this Patreon. Do it now.
I also, I also post my digital art, and certain patrons can get a free print once a month. Just saying.
Oh, you're gonna get shinies, y'all. You're gonna get some shinies.
Shinies! So shiny!
Disney, don't sue us. So like, because for me, I'm new. I don't really have a big Twitter following, but that's okay because Shauna R. Conde is just kind of like my freelance Twitter account. It's not really connected at all to like my author's platform.
Mhm.
But it does sometimes feel like that. Like sometimes I'm talking into the void just to hear myself talk, and it doesn't bother me so much. But I hear eventually, if you build it, they will come.
Exactly. Actually, David, my friend and mentor, he basically built his entire author career and his author platform on Twitter. I think from just tweeting about both his books and on like the topics that were trending, he has over like 3,000 followers right now. And that's just from being consistent with Twitter.
Wow, that is incredible.
Mhm.
This
And it's not like he's out there doing like, political bullshit that we sometimes don't want to hear because we don't want to talk about it. It's stressful enough just to hear about it. He talks about, like, why was I late for my plane? Well, the answer is very simple. Coffee.
I like that. Like I like comedy. I don't think like I'm the funniest person in the room, but I feel like humor helps diffuse so much, and it allows people to realize like real quick you're human.
And he is exceptionally good at it because, first of all, he's a cosplayer himself, and his specialty is Deadpool.
Oh my god, that's so awesome.
So he goes to all of the conventions in his city pretty much as Deadpool at least one day. He has got that quick fire wit to be able to do it and make it work. He'll do it for charity events for the Children's Hospital. He'll do zombie walks as Deadpool. He's just so freaking good at it. And that's why it works for him on Twitter.
I think that's awesome, especially if you can like be authentic as possible. I do hear like that does help you. Don't be fake, y'all.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is not Silicon Valley.
Precisely.
So you have a Patreon, which is cool. I'm really glad that we're hearing about this because I did not know you had a Patreon account. I knew that you had your Twitter. I knew you had a Facebook out there, and then I knew of your website. Is
Yes.
your Patreon on your website?
No, I think I advertise it a little bit. Like, I have a little button to say become a patron, but I don't think it's like everywhere. Although I should probably do that.
I do see a lot of the Kofi. Like, I have a friend. His name is well, I don't really know his name, but I've been working with him for years. Such a weird relationship. He's the owner of Forsaken Productions. He's done some work through Saki Visual, and he has a Kofi account. And I didn't know these existed, where you can actually buy a cup of coffee for your artists to help support them.
Yeah, yeah, they're really great platforms. I have one from back in the day when I say back in the day, it was like a year ago. I did some D&D commissions for characters, but I haven't used it in a hot second since I merged my art and my writing, and I felt the need to improve on my art before I continue to be open for commissions.
So I'm just gonna go out there and say this. I did some research on self-publishing, and I realized very quickly that it is expensive. It's almost like you have to either get a GoFundMe or a Kickstarter just to like help you through that first hurdle. If you want to get like an editor, if you want to even think about like having a paperback copy of your book.
Exactly. It's not just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. I spend nothing into this other than time and get nothing but money back. If you want to sell, you got to put some investment into this. You got to pay for a good cover. The girl who I got to do Starforge and who does David's books, for a paperback book cover for Amazon, I think is something like $35, which for all intents and purposes is kind of cheap. She can do, if you're just selling an ebook, she can do it for $7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You got to do that. You got to pay for an editor, which I've managed to find a much more affordable editor through writing groups called Roselark Editing.
Okay.
But yeah, editing gets super expensive for a good reason for what they do. But you got to do that. You got to pay for marketing image, which BookBrush makes that easy now. And honestly, I think that BookBrush is a really good deal in terms of like you can make endless images and endless templates. Well, not endless, like 25 templates, but for $8 a month. World of Warcraft costs more than that. So
For real. Like I've got a real Wish addiction, guys. So for me, it's like all my money is going to Wish. I don't pay retail prices anymore for World of Warcraft. I can't. It's too thick for my blood.
exactly. And then on top of that, you have to put your money into other things, like for giveaways. even just the giveaway that you and I met through,
Yeah.
I had to pay for those prints to be printed, which is not super expensive, but it adds up over time. I had to pay for the shipping costs, and I want to keep getting bigger with it and bigger with it. And I need to find products that I can make for a decent amount of money so that I can sell them for a decent amount of money and not completely break the bank and still make a profit. I wanted to make candles for canvas, but
Oh, yeah.
but to make them would be so expensive. So it might just have to be a limited thing
Edition.
that only goes to like one person in a giveaway.
Or you could do something like for your, say, your anniversary of the book, you could do something similar to that, to be honest. But yeah, I like how you want to personalize like your creation. I think that is an amazing opportunity. And we've all been there. Believe me, I have stood out in lines for the Harry Potter books just to get a poster and like a collector's item. We've all been there.
Exactly.
um so that's really cool. And the opportunity of doing something similar to that. Now, have you thought any more about like I you know when I think about the prices and everything, are you sure like there's never ever that hesitation of wanting to query and wanting to just to do traditional publication to help kind of break up that price?
It's never really crossed my mind. And maybe that's just because my need to control everything is stronger than my need to make money. But I can't help but I think I heard something somewhere that you only get like 20% of the sales costs for your book if you go through a traditional publishing house, which if a hardback new book costs $20, you're only getting 20% of that.
And I've also heard that sometimes like these authors have to handle their own marketing. And at that point, like what's
Yeah.
the point? What's the point
And
of this?
and the other thing is like in this day and age, there are a lot of publishing scams. And I say scams loosely because yes, they publish your book. You pay them to publish your book, and they do no marketing for you. They do probably they get probably the crappiest cover done for you. You're better off just having full control of it yourself.
I'm gonna be real honest. Those experiences are so prolific in the writing community, and it is so sad. This has happened to writers that I have known, where they get with these mom and pop publishers because we're all jonesing, guys. Like we're all jonesing as writers to have our name on a finished product, so that we could be like, "Hey, we're authors. We did it. Like here is our baby." But sometimes we put ourselves at risk, and it happens like they will only publish your book, and then sometimes these companies go under, and then they have to send you like your stuff back,
Exactly.
and you've got to start all over again.
Exactly. I when I finished the first draft of Canvas, I got the copyright certificate as quickly as I could. I think the moment that the certification went through and they sent me the certificate, somebody contacted me from a publishing house saying, "We see you finish your book. We would like to discuss publishing it." And I was like, okay, first of all, the fact that you're contacting me instead of me having to contact you and try to get your attention, already I'm suspicious of you.
Yeah.
And I fortunately I had a professor who was working like looking out for me. He did some research into the company and he said, technically they're not a scam. They will publish your book, you pay for it to be published, and the point of the company is not to help writers publish their book. It's to try to help it's to try to find the next J.K. Rowling so that they can have the sole rights to those books. So they will just like Jaws, just look for the next writer who just put a copyright on their book and try to be like, hey, this is what we can do for you.
Yeah, and I think like, and for me, I wanted to try the traditional publishing route first, and I think the reason behind that personally is so that I can learn from querying because I've never queried before. And it's one of those things where, you know, there's so many requirements, so many guidelines that you have to go through. And so I just want to be able to learn the ability to query and to, send it out to a traditional publisher. However, the likeliness of me like landing a traditional deal is probably going to be very slim because I am a control freak. I want to have my hands on my baby. I want to be able to, have like creative license over everything. However, I do want to bring this up. If you are not a digital artist, you've never taken design classes, I strongly suggest, guys, stop touching your book covers because you've brushed up on this a bit that there have been people who have god awful book covers.
Mhm.
Stop. It will hurt you. People do actually judge a book by its cover.
You don't even want to see my concepts for the original Starforge cover when I thought I could do it by myself. You don't even want to see it.
And I think it takes you putting your ego out the door just for a little bit and going, yeah, I'm not the most equipped to do this. I need help, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, you want a product, you want your book to be the best that it can ever be as a representation of you as a writer. And so I strongly recommend people that don't have those skills, don't be ashamed. It's all right. I'm not the best singer. Believe me, I'm not going to get like a Tony Award in my shower for anything.
Mhm.
Um, so for me, it's just like go outsource and make sure that when you are looking for a cover artist that they have those credentials, they have references, and that they have a portfolio for you to go, yes, this is what I envisioned.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing about Olivia Pro Design is that she has, I think, over 500 reviews on Fiverr, all of them 5 stars and fucking amazing.
I love
And
Fiverr.
and she has like 25 book covers on her portfolio that you can look through and go, wow, she did really freaking good.
There have been some authors that I have encountered in the past that I guess like they had their book done, it was edited, and they were ready to get it, published, but they hit this wall with their book covers and they just picked anybody. They didn't like really research or, you know, I don't know what they were thinking, to be honest, when they looked at some of these book covers. They went, yeah, that one's for me. Because I'm honest, I've had to do several art critiques in my day for visual art. And so for me, it's just like, no, don't not put this on your book. And I'll tell them why. Because sometimes I see the common mistake is font, especially in E.
Yes.
Font is like your number one killer because sometimes people will have these beautiful backgrounds, but they don't like think about the font that they're slapping onto that book and that how it's
Stop
going to read
using
in a
Comic
thumbnail.
Stop using Comic Sans.
Exactly. For the love of God, guys, stop it.
Stop it.
Comic Sans is not your friend. And stop using the same color font as your background because you're making it hella hard on all of our eyes.
Yeah, what Olivia did with the font with Starforge, I never could have done. I never could have done it.
I think she did a really great job. Like, this
She
is such
was
a beautiful book cover.
fantastic.
I'm sad about the idea of you touching, Starforge, to be honest, because I don't want the cover to change, but like
I
I
don't
tweeted
I
out
I
not
don't
too
think
long.
the cover I don't think the cover will change. I don't feel the need to change the cover. It's the interior with the book and some
Yeah.
plot holes that I think need to be fixed.
Okay. And and it's your baby and you have full control over doing whatever you want to it. I was just like, I love this cover. But I can accept change, and I will if you do change the cover.
Okay, thank you.
You're like, I don't need your permission.
No.
There will be no rioting from Shauna. There will be no rioting. Now I I have sent you so many like I've sent you this resource a long time ago from the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America.
Yes, I
Um,
remember.
I'm a big believer of getting memberships to things. One, because it opens doors for you. It opens doors for you to have access to resources. And after reading Starforged, that was like the first thing I thought of is like, oh my God, you've got to become a member to this. You've got to become a member to the SFWA. And you can actually submit this too for you to get into a membership because they do help you. Because, like we were talking earlier today about how there are some traditional publishers that will try to screw you over. God, I sound like the dude from Lethal Weapon. They screw you over in the drive-thru. But they do, and they will. And Harlequin, and I'm just going to say it right now, Harlequin did that not too long ago. There was a scandal about that, and it impacted a lot of romance writers.
It did.
And so having a guild or like even a writing like group that has resources, has your back, I think that's a great investment.
I agree. I agree. Being friends with other writers is the best thing you can do as a writer in terms of finding resources for yourself to A, save your money, and B, save your book.
I think that's great. I think those are really good. Like that's really great advice, actually, especially as an indie author.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm an introvert. I have no friends, but I understand that I need them.
You do, you do. I'm extroverted. That's why I talk so much.
No, I totally get it.
But it's good to know other authors in the community. I think that's why I knew when you started writing that it's a solo kind of situation. And your friends, like your friends that take you to like Denny's when you're drunk at 2 in the morning, they don't want to hear about your plot lines. They're
No,
just like, I want to get this drunk bitch home so we can go to school the next day. Like
exactly.
I'm ready.
You know what I don't get? I don't get the writers who are like super protective of resources and be like, no, no one must know my secrets. Like, who the hell are you protecting at this point?
They're like the Smeagol of the writing world, and it drives me batty.
Oh, the Brussels.
Yes, yes, I'm down for that. We need a meme of this. Someone needs to make a meme today. So Kelsey is going to kill me, guys. If she sees a meme, maybe that's not a good thing. My precious. Um, and I've encountered it. Like I've encountered it from my own writing members. So I used to be an active member of the Saxy Wiley Authors group, and we had a member in that group. I'm not going to name names, but it did bring this bitterness to the surface because it was like, why should I help new writers? Why should I help them? Um, and I feel like maybe the reason why she brought this up in the meeting was because perhaps she's given advice over and over and over again to, aspiring writers, and they've never taken it. But I come from this viewpoint where if I give advice and you don't take it, okay, well, that's not on me, that's on you. And, I'm not going to be mad and I'm not going to be resentful. It's your baby at the end of the day. Like it's my baby. And if I don't take advice, well, that's on me.
I
Um,
also, I also feel like it has something to do with like people think that this is a competition when you're a writer and you hang on to the resources because if you tell anybody about their resources, their book will sell better than yours, even if you're a part of two separate genres and have two completely different audiences. Guys, the best thing that we can do for the indie writing community is share what we learn.
And I'm right there with you. I'm on that train because it does frustrate me with this idea of having an abundance of, experience or knowledge or these resources. I'm not going to hold them like I'm some writing schmiegel. Like, no, I am going to share, I'm going to pass the baton because I want good things for everybody. That's just my nature. Um, but, I just don't understand why there is this, no, I'm not going to tell you. You're going to learn these things on your own. And I'm like, okay, that's great. I know how to sink and swim, but the problem is that you're going to one day want, help too. We all want help.
Exactly.
And you can't just be like, no, I'm not going to help you, but then later on I'm going to ask for help. Like that drives me bananas.
Exactly. And I had this opportunity this last year. A friend of mine who I went to college with, she was also in the acting community. Never once expressed an interest in writing as far as I knew her. But she's such this sweet girl, and she said to me one day, "So I'm actually thinking about writing a poetry book." And I said to her, "Great. I'm going to send you a YouTube playlist of all of the videos that have helped me through this process so that you can have the best first book you've ever had." So I sent her an entire playlist of Jenna Morosi's books, both from the writing standpoint and from the business standpoint. I sent her a bunch of videos that I actually made about Fiverr resources on Fiverr that I use as a writer that I think people would benefit from. I still haven't sent her book brush, but I kind of need to, so I'm going to.
Girl, like you are the patron saint of the writing community, like right now. You and Jenna Morosi. Like I found Jenna just by random chance. I don't even know how I found her. I knew it was through YouTube, but I have a playlist for all of my books that I write. And so for me, it's like I guess somehow like she just popped up under the next button. Um, and she was just like this fountain of knowledge, and she was so great about it. She's very funny as well. And then when you actually like talk to her like online and stuff, she is such just a cute little freaking button, I swear. And she doesn't have like that troll-esque like
No, she doesn't. And I'm so incredibly grateful for her and for what she's contributed to the community. People can say what they want, but she has helped more people than I think any writing professor at any college in the world.
and I can agree on that. And she's not this gatekeeper either of the writing like realm. Like she wants people to know their craft. She doesn't want them to fall under the same like mistakes that other writers have done and we know that they've done. Twilight. So I mean, she sees the problems in certain genres, and she wants that to get fixed. And so she voices her opinions, and she does educate us a great deal. So for me, I get a lot of my inspiration of writing and also a lot of help from her stuff.
I agree. And the business aspect of the writing is the thing that I have needed the most because, yeah, I've got a story. I don't know how to frickin' sell it. I don't know
I
how to, I'm not, I didn't, I wasn't an accountant. I didn't get a marketing degree. I don't know where to start. I need this information.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's an important, like, if you don't know business or marketing, like, you're kind of lost in the woods. I'm going to school right now for a degree in video game development. That's not going to help me sell this book, y'all.
No, but that's freaking cool.
It is cool, but it's still like, how am I going to get this sold? Now you have your books. You're not just on Amazon, but you're also on Barnes and Nobles, right? You can
Yes,
pick
I
up your book
am.
from Barnes and Nobles.
So that was just Kindle Direct Publishing being awesome. I said that before everything from Create Space went over to Kindle Direct Publishing, I opted for the brick and mortar possibility, and it was there.
How excited are you about it? Like having that opportunity?
I'm really excited. I have no idea if it's even paid off at all, but the fact that reasonably I could walk into some Barnes and Noble somewhere and see Starforged on the shelf, that's amazing to me.
Um, I just want to do like a shout out to anyone who might be watching this. Y'all guys really need to request this book, Star Forged Orion, at your local libraries, because not everybody has the opportunity or the like the income to actually go out and buy a book. But you shouldn't miss out because of that. And I think that if you go out and you get with your local librarian, they can order it for you to have it there at your site.
Absolutely.
And I think
Absolutely.
more people need to like use their libraries. Guys, they're amazing fucking resources. Use them.
Damn great. There was a time in high school where I was reading 8 books a year, all for just even fun. Yeah, I got credit for them in English class, but fuck, I enjoyed it. So
I
go to your fucking library.
For real. And I do like that though. Like when I was online and I was looking at your book, I was like, "Oh my god, you can pick it up at fucking Barnes& and Nobles."
You
And sure
could.
enough, my Barnes& and Nobles, you can get it there.
You
And I just
can.
yeah, you can get it there. It's like really
Oh,
cool. But that was like when we were first talking back in what was it? What was earlier this year, right?
yeah, it was earlier this year.
Yeah.
I think I had just joined the writing community that we were both part of.
Yeah, so you can pick it up there. Have you gone into your local Barnes& and Nobles?
I did, and I could not find it. It was not on the shelf.
Oh my god, so I'm not sure if, like, someone ordered it and had it sent there or not.
Holy fuck, okay. I'm processing now. Okay, I did not know that. I thought it was just on like the the website and you go to the store and say, "Hey, can you get this in?" Wow, okay. So
'Cause I
that's
know, because I know, like, I coulda sworn, like, you could go to the store and you'd be like, "Hey, I want more of these books," and then they can ship them there.
okay. That's awesome.
So, yeah, because I remember, like, I was looking for it before I even won the book
The
contest.
giveaway.
So, yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna buy it either way."
Oh my gosh. Well, if it's still there the next time you go to the Barnes and Noble, can you please take a picture for me?
Yes, you know what? A part of me is like, I hope it's still not there because I want these books to like fly off the shelf like hotcakes because, manifesting, I want good things for you.
Bless you. Bless you so much.
But are you a part of any writing community? Like, are you going to conferences? Are you going like how are you on top of your craft?
I primarily connect through the internet. I've been looking into writing communities. I'm in such a small town that pretty much the only thing that we have is our branch of NaNoWriMo, which
Okay.
um which I do use on occasion, but not very much. Where I'm going, I should probably do my research and see if I can find both a guild for Dungeons and Dragons because I really want to find a group if I can't find an online one, and I want to find a writing group there.
I'm just gonna throw meetup.com out because that's
Got
where
it.
I found all of my one writing groups, and then also D&D anything. Like there's a league here in Dallas where it's just a bunch of girls. Like it's just a girl only vibe. I'm not saying like I'm a man hater, but sometimes you want to not have so much, masculinity in the
Smash
room.
everything in your path.
I know, like guys, stop being such murder hobos. Some of us want to role play this out.
You
So
murder hobos.
I'm
I
just
love you.
I'm just saying we don't always have to murder the barkeep. I need him alive.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to try meetup, I guess.
Yes, try Meetup. Also your local game shop. Like, I'm not sure how prevalent Madness Comics is, but I know like they are here in Dallas, Texas, and that is like our go-to thing. Like Madness has everything between comics, tables, what is it? Warhammer 40K.
Mhm.
We got it all. We got the tabletop miniatures, we got the D20 systems.
Oh, I
So
bet.
you're gonna have to find something wherever you go that has that.
I'm gonna have to look. Yeah. I know
Follow.
I know I have there's a game place here. The hours are a little weird, so that's why it's been kind of hard to get around to there. Our Hastings closed the year after I got here. So,
Oh, that sucks.
yeah.
That
So
sucks.
that's where I got my player's handbook and my first set of dice.
You need to go on Amazon. Like I know everybody gives Amazon so much shit, but I'm shameful. Like I go through Amazon for everything and Wish for dice.
Absolutely. I will eventually become Laura Bailey in terms of the dice because, like, oh my gosh, like, I just want so much dice. I want all the dice. Give me all the dice.
It's possible. I'm a advocate for having like special dice for each character that you create.
Mhm.
Um, and I know that sounds crazy, guys, but it works for me. So, ha ha ha.
No,
Um,
that's actually not crazy. The CSI Vasselheim thing I'm making. See, I'm both writing the campaign but I'm also writing a web comic with characters that I have created going through the story as kind of a way to advertise the campaign. And each character in the campaign gets their own little dice.
Oh, that is so freaking cool.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a lot of dice, man. That's a lot of dice. But Wish has got your back because sometimes you can get free dice, but you just got paid $2 shipping. So I am such a shameful like plug slut right
You
now.
are an enabler. You are an enabler.
I got you to eat naughty food.
You
I
got
got
me
I got
to,
you
you
to
got me
eat.
to down a calzone, an entire freaking calzone, and half of my garlic knots.
I have to live vicariously through others, guys. I cannot have gluten.
That's totally fine. No, like when I finally get to where I'm going, there's this thing called the Taco Treat. It's
Oh
a
fuck yes.
it's a restaurant that is only in Montana in two cities. One of them happens to be the city that I'm moving to. So, and we used to have Taco Treat every time we went to go see my grandfather because we would pass through the other city. Their cheese crisps are to die for. So I'm just going to do a massive mukbang of just like 4 cheese crisps, an enchilada, an enchilada, rice, something.
Oh my god, that sounds so freaking good. Like I'm in Texas, and so we're really big about Tex-Mex, Mexican food. Tacos, street tacos are the bomb, guys. So yes, anything with taco, I can actually have that.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly. And then I want to hit Old Chicago because I haven't been to Old Chicago in a hot second.
What is Old Chicago?
So Old Chicago is actually a pizza place. Obviously they specialize in Chicago style pizzas, but my favorite thing there was the spaghetti pie. Girl.
Is it
So
like Italian? This what it sounds like. Is it
yeah,
like kind of?
it is it's it's Italian, but it's like sports bar Italian, if that makes sense.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
So like people will go to Old Chicago for the baseball games and for like a beer, a little 4 thing of beer.
So it's kind of like a dive barish, but sportsy, kind
Eh,
of.
not very divey. It's actually kind of nicer, but yeah, it's a really cool place.
Okay, cool. You're gonna have to start taking pictures on your Instagram of like all these new places that you're going to. Like that should be your goal this year. It's like show us your wonderful magical world.
Yeah, I actually can. I'm considering starting a lifestyle blog
Oh, you need to do it.
because
I'm
like I
enabling.
want to talk about my weight loss journey that I'm currently on and why I started doing it and how it's working for me and what did I find that works because again like writing not all weight loss regimens work for everybody, but I also want to talk about mental health, personal health, and just having a good time.
I think that's a great opportunity for you. And it also allows us to see a little bit about you. Now, you may not want to share that with, like, I guess your readers or your fans, but, sometimes it allows you to connect to us in a more personal way.
Exactly.
I feel like I'm the opposite. Like, I have so much going on in my life, and I have such a crazy background where I've created a pseudonym, like a pen name, so to protect myself in a way. So, like how I describe Madeline Gray, which is my pen name, my author name. She's like my Jekyll. Well, I guess she's my Hyde to my Jekyll. It's a crazy one. It's been a
uh
while.
yeah, Mr. Hyde to
Yeah.
your Mrs. Hyde. Like,
Yeah. And that's the way I kinda like it because it's just a different aspect of myself, like a darker version of the things that I write. Because when you meet me in person, everyone's like, "Oh, she's so cute. She's so little and she's so nice." But there is a darker aspect to me where it's like I've got a character that, is my favorite. Her name is Aubrey, and she goes around, collecting money. She is a soul eater, and she likes capping people in the knees with a baseball bat.
I love it.
And those are characters that people would not, like, particularly, like, go, "Shauna's gonna write that."
Exactly. No, I also have a little Mrs. Hyde to my Dr. Jekyll. but I'll tell you about that when we're not broadcasting live.
And I think that's great. And I think like more people need to kind of connect to their darker aspects. Um, so like they can feel, a little bit well-rounded.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's a level of perfection that we always feel that we need to have on a regular basis. We have to keep up a certain persona. Fuck that. Have somebody that you become when the night falls.
Yeah. So I forgot to ask earlier. So we talked a great deal about so many different things, but is there any particular author or book that is your favorite? Like, who do you prefer to grab and read? I knew Shakespeare we talked about.
We talked about Shakespeare. David is writes some incredible stuff and he bangs it out at incredible pace. Tamara Pierce, like I said, basically shaped my mind in terms of what do I want to see in books myself. I recently just read this book and I cannot remember the author's name, but it's called The Assassin's Guide to Love and Murder. No. Yeah, Love and Murder, I think. Love and Treason. The Assassin's Guide to Love and Treason. It's a historical fiction book that takes place during Shakespeare's time. And it's all about the whole Protestant versus Catholic uh,
Okay.
kind of issues that were going on during that time. And it's romantic and it's progressive in that the leading guy is actually bisexual.
Nice.
Yeah. So I read that book in 2 days.
Oh my
And
God.
it was about that freaking thick.
That is so great. I'm really enjoying like reading more literature that is progressive. Um it's always confusing to me when I hear people on, say, panels, judging panels, that will make comments saying that they won't judge books if it has, say, like a non-heterosexual theme.
Okay, come on, guys.
Isn't that strange?
It's really stupid. I get really excited when I read someone's book and it's like, oh my God, this person's a lesbian. That's amazing. I love that stuff. And I'm not even like, I'm an ally to the community. I'm not part of that community. I'm heterosexual. I'm a cisgendered white woman. For all intents and purposes, I got it easy in life. And I live for that stuff. I have two freaking non binary characters in Canvas.
Well, I think that, having that representation in literature is important. I guess maybe it's because I guess I'm classified as a millennial. And so growing up, we were kind of taught as kids like everyone is cool and like everyone's a part of the club and there's no one that should ever be felt left out. And that transcends into sexual orientation. And so I felt for the longest time I was a reader that there was something missing in books. Like there was never a lot of diversity. Like I've never like I was really disappointed when like the books that they forced us to read were actually just a bunch of white people. I know that's so bad, but I
But
mean
you're not wrong. You're not
it
wrong.
was just so Caucasianly saturated, and I hated that, and that's why, my favorite I had a English teacher, she had come down to our small little town of Campbell, Texas, and she introduced us to books that were considered banned, and I was in a small Bible Belt city, and they actually were like, "No, you can't read Harry Potter." They had Harry Potter in a box underneath the librarian's desk, and she was like, "You can't tell people that you're reading this." And I'm going, "Bitch, give me Harry Potter now." And so it was one of those things where this teacher, this English professor, or not professor, but she was a teacher, she brought in Nectar of a Sieve. And it's about a woman who is Indian and her struggles, her social and economic struggle. And I just thought, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant. This is something unique and different and diverse. And then, of course, we read To Kill a Mockingbird, but it's just one of those things where at that point I hadn't seen any other characters that were not like either that were straight or just white.
Exactly. And I got to the point where I actually live for that and I've actually gotten to the point where my books work better the more diversity I have. When it comes to Canvas, I think I was writing In a weird way, I was writing the fourth and final book before I was writing anything else because I had the four important characters in the book. And when I started outlining the first book, I realized Annie she didn't have a place to come in. And I thought to myself, how can we integrate Annie into this book? Well, if we change the boyfriend to a girlfriend, she can be the girlfriend. So it just sometimes it works better when you don't think about like it has to look a certain way.
And I agree with that. And I get so disappointed when I read headlines, for example, where there are not okay, so this might sound like a crazy idea, and these are my opinions, not opinions of anyone here. They're mine only. But I don't think that you should be judging any type of book if you can't read stories that have like main characters of color, that you can't like handle stories with, non heterosexual like romantic interests. Like, you have no business being on a panel. And if you cannot judge a book with more than just a white person in a hetero relationship. And those are my opinions and my opinions alone. Because what I feel is that there is a bias. You get comfortable reading one thing and then you're on a panel, and next thing you know, like you're passing up really amazing books
Mhm.
with these amazing authors who poured their heart and soul into their content, and yet you're like, no, I'm not going to vote on this book to be like the book of the year or whatnot because, oh, it's got themes that I just don't read.
In a weird way, it's kind of a reversal of the Oscars, where at the Oscars you'll vote for the movie that has like everything in the kitchen sink in terms of diversity. Just
Yeah.
like clearly the movies that were like, we're making this to pander to everyone and everything. And then with the writers, you have, I will not even touch that stuff. It's really insane.
I've dealt with this, to be honest, in my own group, and it is within their rights to write a members guideline that says, "Hey, you write a erotic romance. I don't have to critique that. We're not going to critique that." And I honestly preferred that like honesty, because it felt like it took them a while to get to that point with me to be like, "Hey, this is what we will and will not critique." So when they had to sit down and forcefully make a members guideline, that was the one thing that they unanimously voted for was, we're just not going to critique anything that has erotic romance or erotica. And I was like, okay, I respect that, but that means that I cannot be a member. Like, I could be a member, I can help y'all guys out at events, but I'm not going to be a participating member. You will
Exactly.
never critique my stuff.
Exactly. And honestly, I don't understand why people have such a bias against erotica, and I think it has something to do with the 50 Shades of Grey thing. But there's so much more to it than that, and I am just really baffled by all of it. It's amazing and I figured this out while I was in the acting department too. We as actors, a lot of plays that theaters put on are very progressive plays. They have certain political statements to them. There was one time, I think it must have been 3 years ago, we put on this play called Sonia Flew, which was all about a woman who grew up in the Cuban Missile Crisis, and now she's an adult. She has to watch her son go off to Afghanistan. By luck of the draw, Fidel Castro passed away the week before we opened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So suddenly it became really relevant and a lot of people came to the show. But what's amazing to me is that we are an industry that we tell the story of the underdog. We tell the story. We are the haven of the LGBTQIA community. We tell the story of women. We tell the story of people of color. But theater in and of itself, whether you're in plays or movies, is sexist, racist, sexist, ageist, every single ist you can think of. They are it in terms of their casting.
Yeah. I will say that you even see in the music industry, like, man, have you heard of Lizzo?
No.
Oh
If
my God, you're gonna have to Google it. She is the fucking bomb. She crosses so many platforms in the fact of body shaming and all that shit. I'm sorry, I'm getting so excited about her. Her music is amazing, and for me, growing up with the fluctuating like weight and everything,
yeah,
she even posed nude in all her glory, for one of, I think, her album covers, and she's pretty much saying to people, if you don't like it, fuck you.
I love it. I love it. Believe it or not, I actually had like even though I'm a cisgendered white woman, I had a hard time in the acting department because I'm 5'9", which is the average height of men in theater. And there's this kind of unspoken rule that says men cannot be the same height or shorter than their leading lady. Otherwise, it makes men look like they're in an inferior position, and people are uncomfortable seeing that.
Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard of that. Oh my God. That
It's
is really
it really
interesting.
is unspoken. And I'm also not the tiniest person in the world. I'm a size 12 in jeans right now. And if you're not a size 8, you can't be an ingenue. And so that pretty much delegated me to the mom, grandmother, which sometimes I played a man. But once you get to a certain age in theater, they don't like casting women in men's roles. They would rather just cast a guy, even if the guy can barely act. They would rather cast somebody who looks old. And honestly, like without the glasses, I look like I'm 12. So
Oh,
honestly, I'm not going to be able to honestly be fully cast until I'm in my 30s. And I can't wait until my 30s for my life to start.
and I feel like it's a shame because we have women like Rebel Wilson and is it Melissa McCarthy now?
Yes. Yes.
That are bigger, but man, they are so powerful. Like they're like powerful icons. Her and Lizzo, um, you know, just out there doing their thing and being like, "No, I got this."
Yeah, and like my thing with like sometimes Rebel Wilson is always delegated to the comedy role because she's the big girl. And Melissa McCarthy was the same way. Now she's starting to get out of that with this new movie coming out, The Kitchen. Have you seen the previews for that?
Yes, it looks so great.
That that's new. And I like that we're getting out of that idea that the big girls are only good for comic relief and we need to start taking them seriously. But the fact that it's 2019 and we're just starting to get to that point says a lot about the world. I mean, and the same thing goes with the ages side of it. Meryl Streep was offered 3 roles as witches when she turned 30. Excuse me, 30 is not old. 30 is not a witch. What the hell?
I know, right? 30, just in case everybody doesn't realize, in psychology, when I took psychology 101, 30 is a great number. That's when you're starting to come into your sexual awakening. So, no,
Hallelujah!
it's like, yes, freedom. I can finally do what I want to do. This magical number. So like for me, it really bothers me when the industry really like casts you, especially in entertainment, at a certain age like that. And they put you in these little boxes. But I also see it though in literature though, because there's not a lot of diversity when it comes to like weight. I always read like about skinny little bitches. And I will say this, like I write sometimes about skinny little bitches too. And I'm also always afraid, like, how is this representation going to make, my 13-year-old self who was like, I think I was a size 17. Like I was a big girl. I was always chunky.
Mhm. Yeah, and I actually just went through this. I had so do you watch the Try Guys?
Yes, I love the Try Guys.
So I originally there's a part in Canvas that I saw Eugene playing, but then I saw his coming out video.
Oh my God, that video was so on point. I love Eugene.
Yeah, and then I thought to myself, well, wait a minute. The part that I have him in currently right now while not completely stereotypical, kind of dances on the line. Why don't I change it? And why don't I change it up? And I make him the president of the support group that's
Oh,
in.
wow.
Yeah. So, and now I'm still learning and I'm still seeing that stuff. And the fact that I can still see that stuff and I'm not stuck in my middle class white ways, it, it, it makes me feel good that I can see that because I'm doing my best to help fix the problem.
I think that's important. I grew up, I'm half, so like my dad's family is Mexican American, and like my mom's side, they're a melting pot. Like that's really what most of us are. But my maiden name is Flores, and so, but I don't look Hispanic. I look really white. But having the opportunity of coming from both worlds really did help me open up my eyes. And then I've lived in different locations too. My mom, sadly, we had to move around a lot growing up, and so like I got to live in like, what is it, Wilmer Hutchins, like Lancaster area. So I
Mm,
grew up in these regions where there was like lots of poverty, and then I ended up being moved around for like Mesquite and places where there's more poverty. It's very diverse though. So the only time that I really felt like it was a culture shock was like when I went to live in East Texas, where there was only a bunch of white people. Sadly, like it's nothing but commercial farming.
mm,
Um, you got one little mailbox, one gas station slash grocery store, and it was really strange because me and my sister, there wasn't a lot of people that were, Hispanic or who were Black. It was just it was like a sea of white. And when I moved, I never felt so relieved to move to a school called Creekview. That's where I graduated and met my husband. Um, and it was so diverse. It was so diverse. And I actually felt like this freedom of being me. Like I could be who I am. I could be Shauna Flores. And I could pursue my dreams and my arts because this school was so small that they didn't even have like a proper art program. They poured all their money into their basketball, their golf, and at the time, their FFA. And I had no desire to raise animals to kill. I like to
no.
eat a cow. I don't want to raise it to kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just as I've grown older, I look around the world and I see these women who are so underappreciated and underrepresented in media in general. And I look at them and I go, you are so devastatingly gorgeous. How has nobody written about you yet?
Yeah.
Like one example is my family and I, we do love Project Runway. We did until Tim Gunn left because now there's no point. Um, but they were finally starting to get some plus size models into the lineup. And this absolutely gorgeous model, Lyris Cross, the first time I saw her, I think I fell in love because she owns every step she takes. And she is this beautiful, curvy African American woman who will just steal your heart, break it in front of you, and you won't even care with just a turn.
Damn. Girls on point.
She's amazing. And I follow her on Twitter to this day because she's just so freaking gorgeous.
So are you ever inspired by like certain actors or anything like that when you write? Because I know I fall into that pitfall. Like, sometimes I see like these amazing models on Pinterest, and I put them into like my writing Pinterest board. Do you do anything like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Actually, Josiah in Canvas, he's based off of Shamar Moore,
Oh wow.
hmm who is, look, I don't gotta tell nobody the business there. He is really gorgeous. And I wanted to see an African American man be like a head of a police department.
Just like Dallas, y'all.
Exactly. Well, yeah, actors really do make a difference. Um, I think in my screenplay that I'm working on, I see Zendaya in the lead role.
You know, that does my heart so good to actually like talk with other authors who just don't want to write about like white leads. And it's not saying that, you know, you can't, but you know, I should be able to write whoever I desire to write. And if I see a Latina X strong female like character, I want to write about that because I know like in the Trickster Chronicles, I write about the House of the Dead, like De los Muertes. And so for
Ooh.
me, like I see these very strong like Afro Mexican women being a part of this house, the Latinas of all kinds of variations and even some that are not like Latina X. Like to me, that is like my representation of my story, and I feel very strong about that. And I just don't want to feel like I'm going to water down the the universe that I'm creating with just monotony, like just the passing the buck of just white characters. And also, I'm a big fan of it's fiction. So if someone eventually one day wants to make a movie of it, they can, and they can like cast whoever the fuck they want in it.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm just the same way. I see these people and I must write about you because you are such a good person from what I've seen from you. You're visually interesting. I can do something with this.
And I think it's also important to, God, not stereotype either. Oh my God, I hate that when I do read an author who does want to write a diverse character and have a diverse cast. They're always stereotyping cultures and things, and I'm just like, yeah, no, it's like stop
Yeah.
that, just
Yeah,
stop it.
exactly. Exactly. And one resource that I have loved is Rejected Princesses. Uh do you know about this?
No, you need to inform me. Like,
Okay, so there's a guy, I can't remember his last name, but his name is Jason. He started this blog for a long time. It's called Rejected Princesses. These are women from history, mythology, legend who are a little bit too macabre to get their own Disney movies.
ah.
So he creates Disney-esque art for them, and then he tells their story. And it ranges anywhere from, okay, so they were kind of a lesbian, all the way up to they kind of bathed in blood.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so I've never seen his work, but I do know the Princess that Bathed in the Blood. So yeah, because I
Yeah.
like the macabre.
Yeah. So, and he's come out with two books now. I have the first one. I haven't gotten the second one, but they hit all around the world. It's not just let's stick to American white people. They go to China, they go to Japan, they go to Indonesia, they talk about Native Americans. It's everywhere. And that's what I love. And actually, both the lead and the antagonist in Starforge Phoenix come from stories I read in that book.
Do you ever feel though when you write a diverse like have a diverse cast in your story, do you ever feel like you're going to have some backlash? Cuz I know personally I worry about this a lot because I'm writing a story, The Unlikely Romance of Emily Brown. It's all based in South Korea, and she is a character that ends up getting heartbroken, and she decides to go teach a year in English out there, and that's where she finds her love interest. And I'm always worried about this. Like, I'm always worried how will the Korean community feel about a non-Korean writing a story in this like this genre of romance. Like, I'm always so scared.
I was worried about that for a long time. And then I found this post on Tumblr that kind of summed it up perfectly for me and gave me permission to be like, I can write these characters. And I'll sum it up basically write an African American character. Don't write about what it's like to be African American if you're not. Write a Korean character. Don't write about what it's like to be Korean if you're not.
I think that's actually really solid fucking advice.
Mhm.
Because I think sometimes what ends up happening is people like stereotype their characters. Maybe they don't know they're stereotyping them by just doing that.
Yeah, that's more what I'm worried about, and I make an active choice to try to not stereotype. Um, like Annie, I'll give you an example. And if somebody wanted to go stereotypical with her, they would have made her a brainiac because, she's Chinese and you have to get all A's. I think there was a joke in Glee like an A minus is an Asian F, stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I made her an artist. And I said, okay, she's a little bit of an overachiever in that she graduated early, but she's also an artist. She's not a doctor. She's not a engineer. She's not a lawyer. She's an artist. And she's not even like a realistic artist. She likes cartoons and anime. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And, and that's a valid point because there is nothing wrong with that. And as long as you're not stereotyping, I think that, is a good thing. It's just, I always worry for like descriptions. I always see these stereotypical descriptions of, oh, they have almond eyes. And I'm just going, really? That's all you're going to put in here? Like the stereotyping of Asian people with almond eyes. Like, really, guys?
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
yourself out.
Yeah. Get the GTFO.
Yeah. And and I think also research the shit out of like where you want to write your book in. I am constantly always researching South Korea, especially Seoul, and they have some interesting thoughts, like viewpoints on one um same-sex relationships. And one of my characters that is vital role of this story, they're same sex, and I'm hoping one day I can actually write like their story. It's just not their first thing that I was writing about.
Mm.
I'm writing about Emily and Taeyong's like relationship first. But I definitely when I was doing my research and I started seeing those things about how they view single mothers or single parents in general, and then how they view like same-sex relationships, I think you can bring a lot of authenticity to your story through like the love of research.
Exactly. And I love the research part of it. The research part of it is the most fun. And Canvas has been really fun because I have to look into really Canvas and my screenplay. I have to look into like the black market, which is
Ooh,
interesting.
that has to be interesting. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that, or is that going to get you in trouble?
Oh no, it won't get me in trouble. I'm not taking part of it. No, I found this resource through Tumblr. Again, it's called Havoc Scope, which talks about what is going on in the black market in this day and age. How much does each market basically make? And like what are some news stories in regards to the market? So like for the screenplay, it's called Stiletto. And it's called that because I have a fashion student going to Parsons School of Design in New York, but she's obviously got student debt and she can't pay her half of the rent for her friend. So she joins the fashion black market to make counterfeit shoes, specifically Louis Vuittons.
Wow.
So I looked into, first of all, what it's worth, which is $12 billion. And then I have a bunch of stories all about how widespread it is. It's not just like high fashion stuff. In Canada, I think in like 2010 at the Sochi Olympics, it's estimated that 60 to 80% of the Canada hockey jerseys that were in the audience were counterfeits.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding about that. And another article said that like in like 2013, over 450 websites were selling over 500,000 fake prom dresses.
That is insane. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. And for Canvas, I've had to research an even darker side of it where you're selling kind of stuff that's not quite illicit drug level, but definitely looks suspicious.
Yeah. And you had said that you had actually like interviewed a police officer, right?
Yeah, I went to the local police station in my town and I talked to her for something like 2 hours. And I specifically focused on questions that were primarily circumstantial based off of the book because I didn't know how police procedure worked. But she really helped me, and while she couldn't really help me on the black market front of things, somebody else could. And
Yeah.
come to find out, depending upon where you live, certain items that might have been purchased on the black market don't necessarily look illegal in certain
That
states.
that is crazy. So I really like that you took the time and energy to actually go do that so that, you can bring that authenticity to your story.
Mhm.
I'm so excited for this to get done.
Yeah, it's fun to do research, and it's fun to do research about almost everything. Um, I've never been somebody who likes things like accounting, but if I ever wanted to write a political thriller about like an embezzler at the New York Stock Exchange, I'm sure I could find some interesting shit.
I think that that would be really great. I think people really just need to not be so scared and to explore and talk to other people, especially who are experts in those situations.
Mhm.
I know everyone's like, I don't want to do that, but I'm going, yeah. But if you actually talk to an expert, like say a forensic like scientist or a police officer or even a lawyer, just to kind of get like a handle on that character or what's going to happen in the storyline, I feel that time that you're going to spend will show in volumes to the level of the story that you produce.
Exactly. And doing the research, like I guess my number one thing with Canvas before I talked to the cop was, is this going to be long enough? Am I going to have enough substance to the story? Once I talked to her, I realized what chapters were missing and I was able to add on to it.
I think that's great because I've met some writers in the past where sometimes their stuff is a little light, but I do know that all writers write the same. So what they'll do is they will write either a lot and then have to go back and edit, or they'll just write whatever they can and then they go in and they fill in. And I think I prefer the filling in process more, I guess, than like having to edit like a bunch of text.
See, I prefer cutting stuff. I prefer writing way too much than I need and being able to just trim the fat.
Yeah, trimming the fat is great. Are you a part of any critique circles right now?
Um, I think I'm a part of like one, but I haven't really talked to the group in a while.
Because I know I'm a part of a, I feel so bad. They're like a secret writing circle. We
Ooh.
get together like every Tuesday and we critique each other. Unfortunately, I have been super slammed with a bunch of craziness that I haven't been able to like hand over my stuff, but
Mm.
I'm still trying to make the time to critique. Um, so for me, it's just like I think that's really important to writers is to not be scared, let other people see your stuff because we get so close to the project that we can't see the issues.
You do, and I especially have that problem. I'm gonna be the first one to tell you I have a bit of an ego, especially with my writing. And if the feedback isn't like, oh, this was absolutely perfect, I'm feel personally attacked. I'm feeling very attacked. Oh, I had to do it. I had to.
You need witness protection from critiquers.
Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, this is teaching me, okay, this is not you they're talking about. This is your work that you want to be the best. Right now, this is hindering it from being the best. And if you need to take some time away in order to be able to hear everything that they're saying, take time away.
I think that's really important. Like when I go into critiquing circles, that's the first thing I want to iterate to my partners is that you know I'm not here to attack you personally. You as a person are fucking awesome. However, there are certain things that are in the story that I feel like we could build upon or that need to be brought to your attention because maybe you don't see it. But it's never should you feel like when you leave a critique circle that you don't want to ever come back, that you feel so distressed that you just want to hang up your hat and go cry. Like, don't go cry in a shower at all, guys. Like, not everyone by the way, are the best critiquers, but it is a learning process too.
I agree on that. I agree on that. And I think when people get like when they get too close to their work is when they are like, I've spent 1,000+ hours trying to write this and it's crap. Maybe I just shouldn't be doing this, and that breaks my heart because I really want to do it. That's how I felt with Orion sometimes, because it did take 6 years. And looking back, most of that time that it took was me, A, not being disciplined enough because I didn't know what worked for me, and B, me just having to try to start from scratch. And when I realized I had to rewrite it because it wasn't good enough, I was devastated. And then I went to England and I went, you know what? I can fucking do this. I did it once. I can do it again.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the thing that you had to experience. That's your journey as a writer, and I think we all can learn from that experience. For me, it's a little bit on the sad spectrum. When I come into a writing circle or a critique or whatever, I come in with the lowest expectation. Like they're gonna read it and they're gonna be like, "Can I set this shit on fire?" Like I always think that my work is crap, and I always get excited when someone goes, "Oh, I like this sentence," and they highlight it. And, and I grow from those things, like those moments where in a critique they go, yeah, this didn't work, or, this worked for me because it does help me kind of set that bar low. So
Mhm.
when things do start working out, I feel a little bit more comfortable. And I don't get upset either, like when people go, this does not work. Please stop submitting this. Because if I can get more than one person saying the same thing, that's a red flag to me. If more than one person is saying the same thing, I can go, hey, this is shit, cut it. Like, don't keep it.
Exactly, exactly. I'm getting to that point where I go into critique situations and beta reads with zero expectations. Is they're not going to hate it, they're not going to love it. Because I have to do what a lot of people say that actors have to do when they go to auditions. Do the audition and then leave and forget about it.
Yeah.
They call you back, great, but if they don't, you got to let it go the moment you walk out the room.
Yeah, like don't sit there and stew and write a manifesto about it. Yeah, don't do that. The only like I've been a part of some really great critique groups and I've been a part of some really shitty ones. And the nightmare critique that I have ever experienced was when someone told me that they would not critique my work because of foul language. That was the most astonishing thing I've ever heard. And I was like, "What?" I was like, "What do you mean you won't critique any of my work because there's a damn or a fuck somewheres in this dialogue?"
Yeah.
So
And
guys,
we actually have the same issue with the with the theater department. We'll have people call about the shows that are coming up and like, well, is this show child appropriate? We can't tell you that because we're not the kids' parents. You're the kids' parents. Well, see, I'm okay with people seeing fuck, but I just really hope they don't take the Lord's name in vain.
and I'm not laughing at those who are super religious or hyper religious or whatever.
I
I
get
just
it. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, look, we can't set the rules for your child. If you just like, honestly, if it's a college show, unless it's a musical, assume it's not appropriate for kids.
I mean, take your child to Disney on Ice, guys. Put in the
Yeah,
extra dollars and just go to Disney on
there
Ice.
are a million Disney remakes coming out. Go see one of those.
I know, and there's always children theaters. I know we have so many here in Dallas, Texas. So I mean, for for y'all guys to call up a college and ask that kind of question, that's crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, like, if you really wanted to do something good for your kid, go take him to Shakespeare. My parents started taking me to Shakespeare when I was 6.
I think it's a really good idea. I think more parents need to do that.
You can guarantee that it's child appropriate because even if it's like kind of like adultish, good luck understanding it at 6.
That's so true. It's so true, y'all.
And if you're scared about them seeing violence, take them to a comedy. Almost nobody dies.
So Do you have anything planned other than the move right now with your work?
In terms of writing,
Yes, like are you still gonna try to do that whole because you do have what is it, your goals. Are those just out the window now until you get more stabilized in the new state or new place you're going?
I feel like yeah, I feel like quarterly goals need to take a back seat until I get some shit together, until I get moved, until I get a job, and until I get an apartment, bare minimum. I think you cannot be superwoman all the time. You need to let some things go for a period of time. Yeah, it's not necessarily good, but you got to take care of you first. And I can get very stressed and overwhelmed and burned out, which definitely happened when I tried to write Starforge while being in a play at the same time.
Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. Mhm. That got interesting. But yeah, the quarterly goals had to take a back seat, but that doesn't mean that I'm just like, well, fuck it, I give up. I'm still trying, but I'm also not going to beat myself up if I fail.
Now, I'm really curious about this idea of quarterly goals. You're not the first author to talk about this. What is the purpose of being that accountable?
For me, it's part of it is that I feel the best when I have a very consistent daily schedule. I like probably one of the rare people who likes having a job, even if it takes me away from my writing, because I like having a schedule. And that's what I'm trying to get out of the quarterly goals is have a schedule, have goals. You know that these things are good for you, start doing them. And the weight loss thing is especially like I haven't I haven't cared to lose weight until this month. This is the first time I've honestly cared. And I think I'm doing pretty well so far.
You look amazing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you look really amazing. So that's why I was like, when I was seeing your quarterly goals, when you were talking about them on YouTube, I was just kind of interested that you just don't do quarterly goals for your writing, but you also introduce a lot of personal goals in there as well.
Yes. I I have to do I'm I feel like if I make them a goal, I will stick more to them because you know what people say with resolutions, like you make them and you break them in the first week.
Yeah.
Have a consistent goal that you check in throughout the year and you're like, okay, I didn't succeed at this. Why? What was the problem? And take a look and you learn a bit more about yourself.
Would you encourage, new upcoming writers to actually be accountable in that way of, creating quarterly goals?
I don't know. And that's because I don't know what works for everybody. When I first started doing quarterly goals, I actually started that a long time ago with my YouTube channel. They didn't work for me. I didn't stick to them. I didn't have the stick to itiveness. And maybe that's because I didn't include my audience in the keeping accountable part because I didn't have the newsletter that I had to check in with them once the quarter was up, I didn't have to check in with my writers and then I would just forget to put new goals and make new goals. Now I'm trying to stick to it. So if you're somebody who is goal oriented, who likes having a schedule and likes being able to check something off a to-do list, go for it. If that doesn't matter to you, find something else.
Yeah, because like for me as a writer, I tried to do the whole, I set a Google alarm. I've got alarm on my phone of, hey, this is the time to write. And it's like I'm the bad girl of like my situation where it's like, nah, I'm gonna go in the back and smoke cigarettes. I don't really smoke, but it's one of the things where it's like I'm not gonna follow the rules. It's just
Yeah.
like I need to be accountable, and I saw that that was an issue when I was on Wattpad because I was trying to speak out into the void to whatever like followers I had left hanging on for dear life for another chapter. And I just realized like, man, I was letting all these people down. I just didn't like that feeling. So I completely posted like a comment going, "Hey, I don't think I'm going to have a chapter out anytime soon. Don't wait for me."
Yeah. Hmm.
Because it's like this guilt that you're letting down a million people or just even like a fraction of people. I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you also need to think about if you do create goals, you have to make them for you to obtain and for you to enjoy. My quarterly goals in terms of like how I'm going to do exercise, it used to be got to do yoga and tai chi every day. I honestly don't enjoy yoga and tai chi. I prefer the treadmill and some weights. Okay, you got to change it up. You got to do what works for you, and you can only do so much that works for you. Take care of you, take care of your mind first. That's the important part.
I agree with you. You got to set realistic goals.
Mhm. And that's why I kind of cut it down to I think 10 in this last newsletter because that's what I needed to do.
And I think you're doing a great job just reaching out, setting up a platform for yourself. I know like life is going to get a little hectic here for you, but just know that on the other side, we are rooting for you. We are here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it looks like that is all the time that I have for today. I'm hoping to come back and do another, like, chill and chat and eat. Maybe next time I'll have a camera so
That
people
would be
can actually
awesome.
like see who I am.
That would be awesome. I had such a good time with you today.
I am so glad. I didn't realize this was going to be a 2-hour stint. I am so sorry for taking up a majority of your time.
No, this was amazing. I loved it.
And I'm hoping like we can talk about like anime next time maybe. I don't know. We'll shoot the breeze. We'll see what happens. Things are going to
Okay.
get crazy.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I'll let you know the next time that I'm free.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, happy writings. Keep it up and enjoy all the naughty food for me that I can't have. Well, within
Absolutely.
reason.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If anybody's out there on the live stream, I had such a good time talking with you, Shauna.
Thank you, Kelsey, for having me. Thank y'all guys so much for enjoying this Q&A that I had today with you.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize it's 3 o'clock.
Oh my God. All right. Well, y'all guys have a good one, and I hope to talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody.